welcome. Good morning. My name is Miss Audie. Welcome to Young Scholars. Happy Saturday. I'm so happy to see you all. How are we doing this morning?
Good.
That's good.
I love to see these beautiful faces.
Yes. Yes. It's nice and sunny outside. The
Is
weather is
it?
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sunny.
How was school? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I was school this past week.
Good.
What was
It's
so good about it?
elaborate. Expound.
Yes, ma'am.
What was so good about it?
We had a glow in the dark party yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
That sounds like fun.
And math.
Amazing. That sounds wonderful. Did you do anything fun in math?
So we have centers. It's like where we work together as a group. But first we do a start slide. And then we go on to centers. We do fun stuff. We have right to explain. We have another teacher who comes in to do right to explain. And then we have fluency is like a game. We spin the pen and it lands on a number and we gotta find what is times 5 or divided by 4. And we gotta find the numbers to match. And if you win, you just win and then start over.
Oh, that sounds cool.
yeah. I would encourage you to keep that math passion alive because that's going to serve you well
Yeah, I've been
get older.
getting A's.
Good, good, good,
4s
good.
are A's for my classroom.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, some
Multiplication of fours.
no, the grade levels 4.0. They're
Oh,
using numbers instead of letters.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also ELA is the fun too,
Oh,
because I love to write.
nice, nice. All right, who else wants to tell us about their week in school? And elaborate, please.
Because I'm and my math teacher do pages upon pages of work every day. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you sharp. If you don't use that brain, it gets slower. Doesn't die. It just gets slower. So you want to keep those synapses burning on both ends. So I know it might be a little bit like, oh, geez, but it keeps you sharp. Just like when you work out. Working out keeps your muscles and your physical sharp. So you got to keep that mental sharp. So good, good, good. All right. So, Miss Audi, how was your week in school?
my week was amazing. Oh my goodness. That was really cool. I started working at the family center
Ooh,
this week. So that was awesome. I worked with the children after school
okay,
and we did a
okay.
lot of cool different things this week. Outside, different stuff.
I,
Learning children's names and learning personalities. So it was really cool. How about
so,
you?
how about those personalities you were learning? What was that like?
It was interesting. It's very interesting. The children are range from, kindergarten up through, I'd say, like high school, and different children come each day, and they're really awesome, very creative, and I'm excited to work with them further and to try different, doing different activities. Um, yeah.
Okay. Well, my week in school was eventful. I was in detention all the time, so I need to learn how to sit still and keep my mouth shut and pay attention.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Oh, you were in detention.
yeah, yeah. I was in detention.
That's awful.
I know,
That's
I
awful.
know. And I'm a teacher's pet too, so I can't explain it.
Oh man.
That's what I said. But I got my work done.
That's great.
I got my work done, and the
You had
quality
no
of my work
choice,
was
I'm
good.
sure, in detention, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I always get my work done.
Oh, okay. Probably had some time to think about your actions too in detention.
No, not really.
Hey, Aaliyah. How
Hi.
are you?
My brother, he's backstage, and I think his audio is working now. So
Okay. Well, here he
there it
goes.
is.
Hey, Daniel. Oh.
Yeah,
We can wave.
yeah, it's really it's still light, still
Hmm.
real soft. It's hard to hear, but we got to get started though.
Yeah. Okay. I think Aaliyah's coming to help you out, Daniel. All right. So we have the two Amayas here,
Hello?
and I would if we are going in. Hey, Daniel, we could hear you. If we're going in alphabetical order, I would like to know who goes first.
Make the executive decision. That's one of the benefits of being grown. Kids, you don't understand that yet, but you will one day.
Is it by first name or last?
Let's do it by first name, but we know Aaliyah is away right now, so we'll have her go next in line. So by the first name, who would go first?
Oh, who's going to be voluntold?
It would be me, right?
Yes,
Yep.
it would be you. Okay.
Go ahead. What's that music in the background?
Hey.
My brothers. Um, so I'm reading Cobblestone.
Hold on, Amaya. Amaya, hold on for one second. Okay, now we're good. I, I think that might be the backstage magician telling us to get going. That might be his way to.
Okay. So I'm reading Cobblestone, A Road to Civil Rights.
Nice.
Looking back, just more than 50 years ago, public water fountains were labeled white or colored in the South. The signs there directed white people to use one fountain and black people to use the other one. Restrooms in public schools were segregated by race, too. African Americans could not use department store fitting rooms or sit at lunch counters. They had to ride in the back of buses or in special cars on trains. Just about everywhere they went in the southern states, African Americans were treated like second class citizens and told to use their inferior facilities. In the 1950s, the modern civil rights movement began to change that all. And this issue highlights some of the most pivotal moments in that struggle. The fight for civil rights, however, began before the 1950s. At the turn of the century, for example, African American journalist Ida B. Wells Barnett defined death threats to write articles that expose the evils of lynching mobs. In 1909, a group of black people and white people founded the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The NAACP is the oldest and largest civil rights organization in the United States. When black soldiers returned to the United States after fighting in World War I, many were not willing to resume life in a segregated society. They had fought for the country and now they were prepared to fight for their rights. They began to form local and state organizations to press for change. During the 1930s, the Great Depression, African American participated in Don't Buy Where You Can't Work companions during World War II. Black workers joined trade unions, protested employee discrimination, and challenged racial inequality. When other generation of black soldiers returned from fighting overseas, they also refused to accept a return to a segregated society. They tried to register to vote throughout the South. And in 1955, about 3,000 African Americans in Mound Bayou, Mississippi, turned out to support voting rights and protest racial violence. Journalist Simone Booker described it as the state's largest civil rights meeting in almost 50 years. Their experiences prior to the 1950s and 1960s convinced black activists that by joining together and speaking out, they could bring that about change. Two men in particular played important roles during these years. Charles Hamilton Houston was a key figure in the early legal struggle against segregation. Born in 1895, Houston graduated from Amherst College. He served in a segregated army unit in France during World War I and then attended Harvard Law School. He became a teacher and vice dean of the all-black Howard Law School. In that position, he trained the next generation of black attorneys to, to use the law as a tool for social change. He insisted that his students be sentinels guarding against wrong. He became the chief lawyer for the NAACP. Houston and his team of attorneys won many important legal decisions. Indeed, from the 1930s onward, Houston, his students, and his colleagues gradually chipped away at the laws upholding segregation. Houston argued cases on behalf of the African American railroad workers in the South, who were excluded from all white unions that threatened their access to jobs. He tackled racial segregation in graduate education and housing. Houston's approach to change that was methodical and took a good deal of time, but his efforts were rewarded in 1954 when the Supreme Court case of Brown v. Board of Education declared that separate but equal schools were unconstitutional. Houston had laid the legal foundation for the landmark decision, which put the federal government on the side of supporting racial equality. Famous activists. A. Phil Rudolph was another early civil rights pioneer. Born in 1889, he moved from Florida to New York in 1911, where he became a radical journalist and activist. As the leader of Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, he led the all-black union to an unprecedented victory in the mid-1930s. He attacked labor discrimination and promoted black unionization as a vehicle for social change. Randolph became the nation's best-known black activist. During World War II, African Americans were excluded from most new jobs in defense industry and segregated in the armed forces. In early 1941, Randolph formed the March on Washington movement, promising to bring back 100,000 black protesters in the national's capital. We loyal Negro American citizens demand the right to work for our country. The new organization insisted. Randolph used his influence to force President Franklin D. Roosevelt to issue an executive order. The president created the Fair Employment Practice Committee aimed at opening up jobs to black workers. Randolph later challenged President Harry S. Truman to end racial discrimination in the military. We are creatures of history, the 80-year-old Randolph observed in 1969. For every historical epoch, it has its roots in preceding epoch. He knew that modern civil rights union drew ideas, methods, inspiration, and even personnel from early eras. Randolph insisted that his generation stood on the shoulders of the civil rights fighters of the Reconstruction era, and they stood up upon the shoulders of the black abolitionists. The famous events highlighted in these pages led to enormous shifts in American attitudes regarding race issues, but it is important to remember the many people who first challenged racial inequality. Those individuals and organizations established the solid foundation upon which the modern civil rights movement was built.
Amazing.
Nice. Maya, can I ask you why you chose that book? Is that like the Black history of the civil rights movement? Is that something that interests you, or is it just like knowledge?
Um, I really like this type of genre, I guess. In ELA, we did this in Black History Month, and my teacher explained that all schools should acknowledge this because they only study this in Black History Month and then just forget it after.
That's an excellent point. That's an
I
excellent,
do
excellent point.
agree.
I like
Yeah.
that. Don't shop where you can't work. I like that. I like that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Even as we're in March, at the end of March, right? Just always speaking about it, always sharing information. Our history is all year round. That was
Well,
lovely. Thank you, Amaya.
yeah. Well, that's one of the whole purposes of the Young Scholars Academy. We got to celebrate Black history every single day because we don't
Indeed.
get it in the current educational system. But don't let me get started. Okay, Miss Audi.
Yeah, that's a that yeah, yeah. We'll go on to our next reader. So going in alphabetical order. Oh, well actually I said Aaliyah can jump in the as the next person. So Aaliyah, oh it's nice that you guys joined. Aaliyah and Daniel. I like it. Yes. I love it. Beautiful.
I'm going to go get my chair. So he's going to go get his chair because you can. No, I can stay right here.
Yeah, we could see you and hear you fine.
Do you want to go first? I'll go
Oh no,
first.
Ali, you go. Oh, okay.
You're going.
Was I
We
supposed to
were
go
doing
first?
alphabetical or order.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
then
doing
I'm going
alphabetical
first.
order.
Okay. So I'm going to continue reading the book I was reading, Minecraft the Crash.
All right.
And yeah. Chapter 3. My mother was talking to someone in the room when I blinked my eyes open. The room was brighter, and for a moment it felt almost like being inside the game again. Things somehow felt less real, and images appeared blocky and undefined for a couple of seconds until the deep sleep faded from my eyes. Maybe I was still traumatized by being put in the kids' Minecraft VR world and then being kicked out without a chance to get used to it all. Hey, my mother said. She came over to the side of the bed and twisted a couple of my braids in her fingers, arranging them on top of my head. I heard you had kind of a rough night. I shrugged, or at least I tried to. I still wasn't sure if my shoulders actually moved or not. Dr. Nay stepped closer. Today her hair was piled in a bun. I heard you met AJ. She took a sharp breath. He knows he's not supposed to be in other people's room. He's a little over enthusiastic and gets underfoot sometimes, especially during shift changes. I looked past Dr. Nay to a uniformed police officer who was hovering near the door. Immediately my body stiffened. One of the machines beeped oddly and Dr. Nay frowned as she looked at it, then looked at the officer and shook her head. He nodded once and left. A few seconds later the machine stopped beeping. Don't get mad at AJ, I said. I think he's just trying to be friendly. I understand, Bianca, but your recovery is the most important thing right now, Dr. Nee said. She projected another hologram from the tablet into the space between us. This one was a line graph showing various peaks and valleys. You see, AJ came around 2 a.m. and you had quite a spike in adrenaline and heart rate. Dr. Nay paused for a second as she stepped closer to the hologram. She pointed at the spot on the graph with the highest peak and then squinted at one of the machines near my head. Do you remember what happened? I got sick, I admitted, from the game. Dr. Nick looked confused. What game? Minecraft. I said. AJ showed me his VR goggles and I got too dizzy. What does that mean? My mother asked. We have a number of VR machines here and in the children's ward. They're good for entertaining some of the kids who have to stay here a while. I wasn't sure that Bianca was stable enough to be offered one. Considering my initial reaction to AJ's goggles, I wasn't sure if I was stable enough, but I wasn't sure if I was stable enough either. But I wanted badly to no longer have to stare at the ceiling or another darn hologram image. Could I get a set of my own, please? Dr. Nay shook her head. The bun on her head wobbled. Not until I've run a few more tests to make sure it's okay. You had a concussion after all. I'm not sure I'm not sure of the effects of VR on that. Okay, but what about Lonnie? Nobody's telling me what happened to Lonnie. Dr. Nay looked at my mother, who had gone immediately stiff at the mention of Lonnie's name. You need to focus on your own recovery, the doctor said. I looked at my mother's face. It was not a "your friend is fine" face. It was a "we don't want to tell you how bad it is" face. She never looked at me. She looked at the floor, and at Dr. Nay, and then at the floor again. I felt a weight pressing down on my chest, and a cold sweat sprung up on my body. The machines began to beep in sharp tones. That same piercing pain darted through the top of my head, and I squeezed my eyes shut. I could hear bustling footsteps around me and the feeling of people pressing in close. Everything they said was gargled and muffled somehow, as if my head was somewhere else, but my body was inside of the room getting worked over by the nursing staff. I thought I would throw up again, but didn't. When I was able to open my eyes, Dr. Nay was pressing the plunger of a needle into my IV drip. No, I heard myself saying, but it was too late. I woke up with what felt like hours later in the dark, and the kid was back staring at me. "Do you want to try playing again?" he asked. A pair of goggles dangled in his hand. I looked around. It felt like a repeat of what happened the night before, including my father sleeping in the chair. It was almost as if the entire day never happened. "What day is it?" "Wednesday," he said. I chuckled, realizing I didn't know what day it was previously, so I had nothing to compare it to. "Were you here last night?" "I've been here for 3 weeks." "No, I mean," my head was fuzzy, so I stopped. I wasn't getting anywhere. He stepped closer. "The goggles take getting used to. It almost never goes right the first time, but the second time, it's usually better." I nodded. "You should close your eyes while the VR adjusts to the new user," AJ said. "Sorry, I forgot to tell you that last time. That's probably why you puked." "Yeah, I'm not interested in a repeat performance." "Me neither." I closed my eyes as AJ put the goggles on me, gentler than the last time. This time, the strange tickling sensation that started on the sides of my temples expanded to cover my face. A wave of vertigo hit me, like I was falling, but without my actual body. I gritted my teeth together. Finally, the motion stilled. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in a strange lobby-like environment with a giant menu display floating before me like a jumbotron. Whenever I looked at or thought about looking at something, the screen responded, flipping through movies, musics, and games. Creepy, I thought. It was like the goggles could almost read my mind. Using this interface, I navigated to the Games tab to choose Minecraft. The display opened to the beginning of the game, which allowed me to choose a world, an avatar, and all the settings. "By the way, there are a few new rules to this version of Minecraft," AJ said. "The goggles aren't like most video games. It syncs with your brainwaves or something and reacts to your thinking." I quickly punched the login info for the world I had started with Lonnie. It was fast. All I had to do was think about the letters, but it didn't give me access. "Hey, why won't it let me log in?" "You have to use the realm that we share with the rest of the kids at the hospital," AJ said. "Don't worry, I've coded some of the super slick mods in that version, since you're new and all. For example, in survival mode, I've included some verbal commands that will respond if you're stuck or in trouble. All you have to say is, I'm not going to be having trouble," I say, irritated. "I'm not a total noob." "You threw up in your own hair," AJ said. "I saw you." I breathed heavily, not willing to concede that point. "I mean, if you just pull the goggles off, it messes with you in the head. So if you really need to, like, ease out of it, like I said, I can just come out and be fine. But not everybody is like me." What a little snot. "Okay, fine," I snapped. "I'll ease out of it. And how do I do that?" "You'll need to construct an exit portal. Any kind of portal shape will do. You just have to think about leaving the game for like 30 seconds. "Are you kidding me? You made that up, didn't you?" I said with a huff. "I'm not. It's so your brain can prepare itself for exiting the game. Kind of like when games don't let you log out in the middle of a fight. There's a cooldown period. Building a portal helps you concentrate on leaving." He paused a moment, probably looking at my "I don't believe you" face, and added, "I promise, it's like using visualization or something. You don't want to exit the game any other way again unless you want more throw up in your hair." "I'm not going to have the materials to make an exit portal when I just get inside the game," I said. AJ sighed. "All this stuff is in the inventory already. It's all part of the mods I put in." I heard him move a little closer, and I cringed, thinking he might yank the goggles off again, but he didn't. Instead, he whispered the login passwords for the shared realm. I looked at the start button, and then the screen went blank. There were a couple of lines of code at the upper left-hand corner of my sight line that I didn't get a good look at, but a moment later, the world of Minecraft spawned at my feet, spreading out in directions in all directions, a pixelated world of bright colors, sunshine, and the gentle tinkling music of the game. I took a few hesitant steps forward, worried the nausea would come back, but this time I felt fine. Progress. And that's where I'm going to stop.
Nice, nice. Ali, I didn't know you were into Minecraft. I thought that was Daniel's thing. Are all you all into it? Or
Well, I used to be into Minecraft, but this is just one of the books I had laying around, so I was like, I might as well read it.
nice, nice. Now, this is the first time you're reading that book, or have you read it before?
I've read it before.
Okay, cool, cool.
I love how
Awesome,
you
thank
read.
you. I know I'm like quiet, just like intently like
Yeah.
listening and captivated. So I can listen. I'm gonna tell my teachers I can focus.
All right. Up next, we have Amaya.
My
Hey.
all I see is the top of your head. Oh, there we go.
Oh, beautiful face.
I'm still gonna be reading Kina Ford and the Secret Journal mix up. We left off at
Nice job
80.
with her name. That's exactly how you say it.
Okay. Tuesday, November 16th, 6 p.m. Okay, I'm ready to write the rest of the story now. This morning,
You muted yourself.
You muted yourself again, Amaya.
Amaya, you're muted.
sorry. Did you hear me read the first one? Okay. Tuesday, November 16th, 6 p.m. Okay, I'm ready to write the rest of the story now. This morning at school, I was going to ask Tiffany about my journal right away, but she said something to me first. She came right up to me with a big smile on her face. You left your journal at my apartment, she told me. I know, I said. Then I asked her if I could have my journal back. I didn't bring it with me, she said. She was still smiling like crazy. Tiffany never smiles at me unless she is about to tell me about something bad. I was pretty sure I knew what bad thing Tiffany was going to tell me. You didn't read my journal, did you? I asked her. You better not have read it. That is my private stuff in there. Tiffany didn't say anything for 1 minute. Then she said, yes. I read it. I read the whole thing. When Tiffany said that, my face got about 1,000,000 degrees more hotter. I was shocked. I don't know where the water comes from inside you that makes you cry, but it shot up into my eyes in about 3 seconds. That was my private stuff, I said again. Then you should not have left it in my apartment, Tiffany said. She raised and lowered her shoulders very fast, like she knows everything. I'm telling, I said. If you tell me, I will tell everyone what you wrote in your journal. She said, even the bad stuff, I will tell them all of it. If Tiffany told all the things I wrote in my journal, I would be in big trouble when a lot of people hears some of the bad stuff I wrote. I wrote that Mom's new haircut made her look like an old lady. I had written that Dad was mean for not letting me go to my friend's Lily's sleepover on a Saturday just because I stayed home sick on Friday. Even after I promised to just lie in my sleeping bag the whole time and rest. I wrote that Lenny was a liar because she said she stayed up all night at the sleepover. And I wrote that Eric was getting on my nerves because he was bragging about going to a Washington Wizards basketball game. Fine, I won't tell, I said. And you have to do everything I said, Tiffany told me. Like what? I asked her. Tiffany did not answer because just then Miss Campbell asked Tiffany and me why it was taking us so long to unpack our backpacks. And did we remember that we were supposed to sit down? Sorry, Miss Campbell. Kina keeps talking to me at the cubbies. Tiffany said, I did not. I said, both of you, please just find your seats, Miss Campbell said. Even though I was mad at Tiffany, I was excited for reading time because we were going to read more fables. There is
Spell it out,
What's
Amaya.
Fable.
Fables.
Fables. There is a whole section about fables in our big reading books. But at reading time, Miss Campbell told us we did not need to bring our big reading books to the carpet. She said that instead of reading more fables, we were going to read something different. After we all went to the carpet, Miss Campbell held up a book that said BIPPO and PECKY on the front cover. There was a drawing of a big gray hippo and a little gray bird with a red beak and a yellow circle around its eye. Miss Campbell told us to guess what book was about. I raised my hand high, but Miss Campbell called on a girl named Shea. I think Pecky is the bird and Boopy is the hippo because Boopy rhymes with hippo, Shay said. I stretched my hand very high so that Miss Campbell would have known I still wanted to say something. She said, yes, Kina? I think Boppo is the bird and Peaky is the hippo, I said. That is more funny than if Bobby is the hippo. Some other people nodded. I heard someone say, yes, that would be more funny. Somebody else shouted that. No, it would be better for people to be the hippo. Then a girl named Abby, she said she thought the hippo was going to eat the bird. I don't think Miss Campbell was happy that all those kids forgot to raise their hands before speaking because she made the quietest single. The quiet single is when Miss Campbell puts one hand in the air and one finger over her lips. And then she makes her eyebrows go very close together so that she gets a wrinkle in the middle of her forehead. Miss Campbell is not a very old lady, but she can make her face wrinkle in.
Nice job. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, actually, I will stop here.
Nice job. I love the personality. I love the intonation. Whenever you come up on a word that you have difficulty pronouncing, just spell it out to us so we can help you.
Okay.
But great job.
Nice job, Amaya.
Thank
Amaya, you want to mute your phone?
Put your camera on mute. Thank you. All right. Next we have Daniel. You ready to read, Daniel?
Yes, he is. Yes, I am.
All right. Whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, so the book I will be reading is the same book that I've been reading, The Vanderbeekers on 141st Street. Okay. Okay. My room is gonna look exactly the same, right? Like, exactly, asked Oliver. Will we move close by so friends can keep all his doggy friends? Asked Hyacinth. At Hyacinth's comment, the other kids' eyes widened. They had never considered that they might have to leave the neighborhood where they knew everyone on the block by name, age, and hairstyle. I've lived in this neighborhood my whole life, Papa said. My job is here. Only Hyacinth noticed that he didn't answer her question or look anyone in the eye when he said that. Listen, kids, I have to fix that wobbly banister on the second floor, then take out the building trash. But we're not done talking about this, okay? Papa took his worn blue coveralls off the coat hanger and pulled them over his work clothes he was wearing for his computer repair job. The coveralls looked like something an auto mechanic would wear. Papa observed the somber faces of his kids. I'm really sorry about this. I know you love this place, but I promise, this will turn out okay. He slipped out the door. The kids hated when their parents talked about things turning out okay. How could they know? Before the kids could start with the questions again, Mama's cell phone pinged. She glanced at the caller, then back at the kids. I have to get this, but don't worry. We'll talk about it more, I promise. The kids watched her rush upstairs, then heard her say, Yes, Mrs. Mitchell, thank you for calling. We're very interested in that apartment you listed, followed by her bedroom door shutting. Move, Oliver said, breaking the silence. That's bananas. Rotten Beardaman. I cannot imagine not living here, Issa said, her fingers running over her violin strings. I really hope it wasn't my violin playing that caused all of this. Issa discovered Mr. Bierman's particular distaste for instruments 6 years ago, when she was in first grade. She was performing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on her tiny 1/8 sized instrument for her second floor neighbor, Miss Josie. Issa stood outside Miss Josie's apartment, but halfway through her song, Mr. Bierman's door on the third floor burst open. He yelled down the staircase for the terrible racket to stop or he would call the police. Then the door slammed. The police on a 6-year-old violinist. Issa was in tears, and Miss Josie invited her and fed her cookies from a delicate china dish that gave her a pretty lace handkerchief to dry her eyes. Then Miss Josie insisted that Issa keep the handkerchief, which Issa to this day stowed in her violin case. It makes no sense, said Jessie, pacing back and forth between the couch and the picture window. She ran her hands through her wild hair, which made her look like a crazed scientist. Newton's third law says that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now consider this. Papa does so much for the building. He keeps the front stoop clean. He rakes the leaves. He shovels snow. He saves the Bierman so much money by doing all the repairs himself. So what about Newton's third law? The Bierman kicking us out of the building is not an equal reaction. I want to see a Newton, exclaimed Lainey. I don't think that law applies here, said Issa, unconsciously adjusting her neat ponytail into a neater ponytail. Newton's law applies to everything, Jessie said, with her I'm right and no one can convince me otherwise voice. Uncle Arthur helps with the big repairs, Oliver commented as he searched through a stack of ancient encyclopedias for the one marked with an N. Papa does all the daily stuff, Jesse pointed out, and he fixes Uncle Arthur's laptop whenever it breaks. Arthur pulled out Oliver pulled out the correct encyclopedia from the stack and flipped through it. Newton is this guy, he said to Lainey, pointing to a photo in the book. He has very nice hair, said Lainey, running her fingers over the picture. Don't read that, scolded Jessie. Those books are 60 years old and full of inaccurate science. Okay, people, Issa interrupted. Let's get back on topic. I figure that we have until Christmas to convince the Bearderman to let us stay. That's only 4.5 days, Jessie exclaimed. She looked at her watch. 106 hours. Exactly. Less than 5 days, people. Who has ideas? Give him lots of hugs, suggested Lainey. Oliver rubbed his hands together and raised one eyebrow. Let's spray paint his door, he said. He gave a dramatic pause, with disgusting bathroom words. Issa ignored her brother. Lainey, I think you're right. We should try to do nice things for the Bearderman. Change his mind about this. Jessie and Oliver looked skeptical. Hyacinth looked scared. Lainey looked ready to give out hugs. Lots of hugs. After a long silence, Oliver shrugged. I'd be willing to do nice things for him if he lets us stay. I guess I could try to be nice to him, Jessie said. Issa gave her a grateful look. Although if this doesn't work, Oliver and I totally get to spray paint his door. What do you think, Hyacinth? He scared me, Hyacinth said, chewing at her pinky finger. It's 5 against 1, Oliver said. What could he do to us anyway? I know you can do this, Issa said to Hyacinth. You need to channel Hyacinth the Brave. Hyacinth nodded, but continued gnawing on her pinky. Issa mused. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to convince the Beermen to let us stay? It would be like Christmas. It would be like giving Mama and Papa the most amazing Christmas present ever. The Vanderbeeker kids thought about giving their parents the best Christmas present ever. Of course, Hyacinth already made presents for them. She had completed them 2 months ago, but she liked the idea of a group gift. That's where I'm gonna stop.
Daniel, great job, man. Yeah, I'm just upset because correct me if I'm wrong, they're being evicted, but did the guy give a reason? He's just saying you have to be out.
No.
Yeah, I don't like that. I
That's
don't like
crazy.
that. I think as you read further on, we're going to find out, what the basis of that is. But great job. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what are they going to do because they really haven't been looking for another spot either. So as you're reading, I'm thinking about like the real world ramifications of what's happening to that family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Great job, man. Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah, I'm excited to hear more of that story. Welcome, Lyric. How are
Hi,
you?
Lyric. I love that name.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yeah. So, you have a book that you're going to share with us today?
Um, sure.
Okay. We're going to have Mr. Rob read first. Well, actually, we're going in alphabetical order. Well, you were next, Mr. Rob. But,
You saved me, Lyric.
yeah. Let's have Mr. Rob go ahead and read.
Oh, okay, Lyric, you didn't save me. Okay. So I'm going to read between two books, not today, but today I'm going to read from Hill Hopper's Letters to a Young Brother. And then next week I'm going to start reading Hannibal of Carthage, the general. Um, I was gonna start reading this, and I have started reading this. I don't like the tone of it, and you can tell when a book is written by someone who's not of your culture, the tone's different. So there's things that he says in this book, and I'm kind of like, I see some bias in there. But Hannibal is a great general. A lot of military forces still use some of his tactics or some of his principles in modern day warfare. So he's an interesting guy, a very accomplished leader, and that's somebody who I used to write papers on this guy when I was in school. So let me give you a quick synopsis of Letters to a Young Brother. Many of today's young men are at a loss for positive role models, constructive outlets, and the motivation to dream big and accomplish anything that they set their minds to. There were a series of letters written from brother to brother, all based on questions that young men have personally asked them. Award winning actor Hill Hopper, also known as Lindsey Brown, addresses many of the tough issues young men are facing today. Everything from school, money, careers, to family life, girls, and achieving goals. Letters to a Young Brother is essential, straight talking, and inspirational guide that finally confronts the important issues that shape every young man's life. So I think I gotta I'm getting old. Dun, dun, dun. Get my glasses on. So letter one, young brother, the newest perfect model. I'm not cocky, I'm confident. So when you tell me I'm the best, it's a compliment. Quote unquote, Jada Kiss from New York. April 9th, 2005, Los Angeles. Dear young brother, what's up, man? So I got your letter, and as much as I hate to admit this, I'm gonna put my thing on vibrate. Silence. As much as I hate to admit this, I would not have probably would not have written you back. At least not so soon. I often fall into the trap of thinking I'm so crazy busy that I can unknowingly get bogged down with the daily business of life. But something in your letter, your vibe, your tone caused me to stop and pay attention. It troubled me that at such an early age you already expect the worst from people. More than that, you remind me of myself at your age. Just like you, I had gotten used to people letting me down. At times, it even made it hard for me not to give up on myself. Your letter hit home with me. It forced me to remember what it's like to be a young man in need of things that I couldn't always put into words. I know what it's like to be confronted with multiple roads that you could choose to walk down, some positive, some negative. So, yeah, I'm doing what you said I wouldn't do. I'm writing you back, and there's so much I want to share with you. First, I want to tell you something. You are the perfect product of 15 billion years of evolution. That means you are the latest and greatest model of the human species. I respect that. You should too. You know how cars come out each year and they make an upgrade and improved model? You know how they make it look better, go faster, upgrade the engine, upgrade the sound system. Your grandfather's Cadillac went from 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds. The Caddy today goes from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. His car had a lap belts, no power steering, skinny tires. Today's models come fully equipped with front and side airbags, integrated traction control steering systems, and 20-inch rims. You can't mess with the new model. It's hot. That's you. And I want you to hear this. You are the latest and greatest perfect model of the human species. Each year you can improve. You can become the upgrade you are seeking. The way you are right now, today, is perfect. I can't say it enough. This is the truth. You are the latest, newest model. Being younger than I am, you can do stuff I can't do. You still have time to go get good grades in school, fall in love for the first time, see the Eiffel Tower in France, the Serengeti in Africa, or the Aztec ruins in Mexico. You can even learn another language, or change careers, or do a myriad of things. You are still able to bring fresh, new dreams into reality. I bet you could kill me at the latest video games too. I don't know how to play Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, but I'm not supposed to be able to beat you because I'm an older model. However, one thing that we've learned from the car designers is that they always study past designs to get the vision for the future. So let's stick with this car analogy, okay? Cool. What is your favorite new car model? The '06 model is hot. Yeah, it's better than the '04 model, which is better than the '02 model. But It's better because they improved on it. That is why you are the improved version of almost everyone in your life. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
Yes.
All right. You're the improved version of your grandparents and their generation. This doesn't mean you shouldn't respect them or that you're better than they are. And it certainly doesn't mean that there aren't many important life lessons that come from listening to and being interested in your parents' and grandparents' stories. However, it does mean you have your whole future ahead of you. You can learn from their mistakes and do better. You will live longer, become better educated, make more money, be happier than the previous generation. You are here to improve the human race. And you need to embrace that. So right now, as you're reading this, whisper to yourself, I am the perfect new model. I am the perfect new model. I'm going to be better than my parents. I, today, am the best this world has to offer. I know little seeds of doubt try to pop up when you imagine your best self. These little voices crop up saying, no, you're not perfect, not the perfect new model. You're not that good. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be successful. Who do you think you are? Life is tough and you suck. Tell those voices to get up off you and say that. I say that because I too fight those voices in my head that tell me I can't be something or do something. They never fully go away, but doing this work can make these voices from the loud yell go to a soft whisper. The most important thing to remember about those voices is that they are wrong. You are the newest perfect model. You are perfect. You have all the potential in the world. The voice of doubt is in your head because of previous models. A previous generation taught you those limiting beliefs. You were not born with that voice of doubt. I am here to tell you that I am living proof of those voices of doubt aren't real. They're not even yours. They don't belong to you. Someone taught you to believe in those doubts. Success, happiness, joy, these are your birthrights. You know what I'm saying? Let's go of other people's voices in your head. Your parents, your relatives, your friends, your enemies, anybody who ever said your dreams were not possible. Let it all go. I know it's easier said than done, but if you stick with me, I promise someday you will be unreasonably happy. All right, I got to go shoot a scene for CSI New York. It's a scene in Central Park where I go scuba diving to recover a body. Cool, huh? If I can, I'll grab a picture of me in the scuba suit and send it to you. If you write me back, I'll elaborate on the doubt and the power of belief in another letter. So hit me up and we'll wrap some more. We got more to talk about, okay? Oh, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have a question. My email is hail@manifestyourdestiny.net. Hope to hear from you soon. Grace, peace, and blessings, young brother. Your friend, Hill. P.S. As I was finishing this letter to you, my friend Stephanie gave me this greeting card that on the front says, you are the best invention since last year. It was written by a 6-year-old boy. How's that for serendipity? It's the universe's way of showing us that is the truth. The
Lovely.
end.
Thank you, Mr. Rob. That was awesome.
Good. I got to get my key bookmark from the
So
Key
nice.
bookstore in Hartford, Connecticut. Black owned.
Beautiful. Be sure to
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
if you stumble on
We
any
are so.
words.
I'm sorry, Audie. I have to clap and give him a
Oh,
standing.
sure.
I'm on my way to your house to beat you up, Mr. Darrell.
The energy that
Yeah.
you exuded was just simply
I'm on my
remarkable.
way to your house to beat you up, Darrell.
The way you enunciated each and every word,
Yeah.
remarkable. Thank
Meet
you,
me at the
Rob Jones.
playground.
I did. Yeah, enunciation was amazing. I was gonna say also if you stumble on any words, you can just stop and ask for help.
Oh, yeah. Thank
We
you,
can
Miss Audi.
and we can assist you with that. I'm so proud of you. All amazing, Miss Lyric.
Lyric, what's up, Lyric?
Are you ready?
Hi.
Doesn't she look
Yeah.
like me, Audie? She's beautiful, just like me, right? Look.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you ready to read?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us what you're reading?
Reading the Lightning piece, the
Oh,
Percy Jackson Lightning piece. Yeah. by Rick Morton. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna read the first chapter. It's called "I Accidentally Vaporized My Pre-Algebra Teacher." Okay. Like, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is to close this book right now, believe whatever lie your mom and dad told you about your birth, and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous, it's scary, most of the time gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're normal, it's fiction. It's great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside, stop reading immediately. You might be one of us. And once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they send it to it's only a matter of time before they send
You want to spell the word out?
I think she might have froze.
Oh.
Yeah. Something going on with the connection.
happen.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
You froze a little bit.
I did. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Can hear you.
Okay. Okay. My name is Chrissy Jackson. I'm 12 years old until a few months ago. I was a boarding school at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. I could, I could, I could start quite in my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May when our sixth grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers in a yellow bus heading to Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at ancient Greece and Roman stuff. I know it sounds like torture. Most CNC field trips were, but Mr. Vernon, our Latin teacher, was leading the trip, so I had hope. Mr. Vernon was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning and scruffing beard. He had thinning and scruffing beard and frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, but he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to sleep. I hope this trip will be okay. At least I hope that for once it wouldn't go in trouble. I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my fifth grade school, when we went to Saratoga battlefield, I had this ancient I had this accident with a Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but of course I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my fourth grade school, we went and when we took a behind the scenes tour of Marine World Shark Pool, I sort of hit some. Before that, at my fourth grade school, when we took a behind the scenes tour of Marine World Shark Pool, I sort of hit the wrong lever on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea. This trip I was determined to be good. All the way into the city, I put up with Nancy Bobbitt, the freckly redheaded couple romantic girl, hitting my best friend Grover in the back of the head with chunks of peanut butter and ketchup sandwiches. Grover was an easy target. He was squawmy. He cried when he got frustrated. He must have held back several grades because he was the only sixth grader with acne and start of a wispy beard on his chin. On top of that, he was crippled. He had a note excusing him from PE for the rest of his life because he had some kind of muscular disease in his legs. He walked funny, with like every step hurt him, but don't let that fool you. You should have seen him run when it was you should have seen him run when it was enchilada day in the cafeteria. Anyway, Nancy Bobbitt was throwing wads of sandwiches that stuck in his curly brown hair, and she knew I couldn't do anything about it. and she never can do anything back to her, I was already on probation. The headmaster had threatened me with a death by in school suspension if anything bad, embarrassing, or even minimally entertaining happened on this trip. I'm going to kill her, I mumbled. Grover tried to calm me down. It's okay, I like peanut butter. He dodged another piece of Nancy's lunch. That's it. I started to get up, but Grover pulled me back into my seat. You're already on probation, he reminded me. You'll get blamed if anything happens. Looking back on it, I wish I deep Nancy Boba Fett right then and there, and school suspension was then nothing compared to the mess I was about to get myself into. I'm going to stop there.
Thank you, Lyric.
Nice, Lyric. Thank you. Why did you choose that book? Is there you like that series, or you like that kind of like that Harry Potter type stuff, or?
I watched the Lightning Thief yesterday, so I was like, might as well read the book again, and I already had it, so yeah.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. Well, I hope that we regularly see your face on the show and on Saturdays. And thank you for your contribution. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yep, Amaya's clapping for you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I think everyone deserves a round of applause. You all were amazing. Great job. I love the reading. I love the enthusiasm, the support. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys, thank you. Thank you. Yes. The enthusiasm, the support that you guys have for one another. I think it's amazing. I love that you all show up for yourself every Saturday morning and read. I think it's beautiful. So I have some amazing news that starting next week, which would be April 2nd, next Saturday, we will be starting our in-person session. That will be at the Boys and Girls Club Family Center on Acorn Street. So yeah, that's really, really exciting. I'm really happy for that. I hope you guys are all as well. We'll be doing our, field trips and a lot of different things this year. So I'm really excited for that. I would love to see you all in person. Yeah. Does anybody want to share anything before we go?
That passage I read was really, it hit home for a lot of kids because we deal with a lot of children, and I know at that age, doubt can be crippling. When you're an adult, you always have doubts too, but you might be able to kind of work it out in your head and formulate a strategy or a plan to get out of that. But as children, as your brain's growing and your thoughts are growing and your personality is growing, and your priorities are the most important thing to you, when doubt creeps in, it could really wreak havoc. So I thought that Hill Hopper's words were very profound.
I agree. And thank you for saying that, Mr. Rob, because I do believe that to be true. Just being a child and trying to figure out the ways to maneuver through life and figuring out just like pros and cons and consequences of things, and just I guess becoming more responsible and more accountable. But confidence is super important. Confidence is super, super important. Self-esteem, believing in yourself, so that doubt has no room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll always be there, but you got to keep it at bay.
I like that. Thank you, Mr. Rob. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share? No?
I hear the music.
I hear it.
Oh, Daniel's hand is
you have
up.
something to say?
Okay, so Mr. Rob,
Yes.
So you told me, you said stay out of study hall. And I had you. See, I wasn't in study hall this week.
Oh, word? Okay. Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. I am glad to hear that. I bet your parents are even gladder than I am.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome, Daniel.
thank you for sharing, man. I'm proud of
Word.
you.
Word. Ladies, nothing to share? Well, I want to share that you all are
I
amazing.
don't know.
You all are amazing, 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 amazing. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your Saturday and enjoy your weekend. And do and do well in school next week, all right?
And also, I do this like it's a girl power thing in my school. It's for after school. It's only for Tuesdays, so I do it for fun. It's fun. Like we're gonna be doing the activities. I just started it. Like I just started. And we have a girls on the run. I
Nice.
didn't join it, but I might join it next year if they have it in middle school.
Nice. That's
Okay.
cool.
Thanks for sharing. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap it up because Mr. Darrell keeps muting our mics.
Peace,
So,
y'all.
the wizard behind the curtain. Do you have any closing words?
Great job, everybody. I enjoyed the readings. We'll see y'all next Saturday, 9 a.m. Young scholars, stay brilliant. We out.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.